Hello there, I'm Ishiro, and today I'm making a report on the Cat's Tail Gathering tournament that I played this week. So in my last Genshin video, when I tried to qualify for the Prince Cup, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll play another tournament of this game, it was pretty fun. And it turns out that 2 weeks after, there was another official event that was announced. So for this one, there's up to $1,000 for the champion, and the format is a bit like a league. You play in BO1, and you have 9 days to play 35 games. After that, the 16 players with the most number of wins will move on to elimination stage. So my goal for this event was to reach the top 16, and let's see which deck I used for that. So because I had less experience than most of the players, I decided to just go for what was considered the best deck, and just spam it. Only use it to learn it really in depth. So this one is called Fatuizan, because you play Liney and Lined, the two Fatui, and Fatuizan. And the main reason to play it is actually this spell, the Fatui spell. And it says, whenever your opponent doesn't attack, they get applied a random element. So this card is basically an attack, but without taking the action, and it does it 2 times over 2 rounds, which is super strong. And thanks to that, you can just play your 2 animal characters and just swirl the elements that you got. And Fatuizan, she has a lot of combo, she's very dice efficient, so it's a pretty aggressive deck that can actually destroy the back row. So of course, I'm not going to show you 35 games, that would be just way too long. But I made a selection of the best games I had against very good players in this tournament. For today we have 3 replays, let's jump right into it. So this was game 5 in the tournament, and I'm against Mr. Pylo. He's running this Shinshu Shongyun deck, where the goal is that on every normal attack you'll get to freeze the opponent. And so it's basically GG at this point. So I need to win before that. So here's a classic open, just to go for Liney. You apply Pyro on the first character, and then you get to swirl it on Fatuizan. And then you try to set up for Fatuizan's burst, which increases your animal damage. So pretty mad dice, but that's still okay, still manageable. So these artifacts, whenever you take damage on the character, you draw a card, only once per round, and Liney damages himself, so I'm guaranteed to get the draw instantly. Sorry, my game is in French. I'll still be explaining the cards, so there won't be any problems normally. So I tried to switch there. But because he applied Hydro to his character when he uses skill, he clears the Pyro. So I don't have anything yet to swirl anymore. So I decided to go for Liben, try to store these dices for a later round, and wait for Pyro to be reapplied by the summon. And because my hand is too small, I get 2 draws from the 3 support card. So Descent. I was still shuffling back the Arcane at this point. I didn't really know the Fatuizan FTK combo, so I was like, it's supposed to be a card for later. But anyway, for this game I use the skill of Fatuizan, so as Pyro. He goes for Tiamius. Now that Yayoi was nerfed, it's the best option for Gilded Dreams deck to reduce the artifact and get extra dices with it. But surprisingly, he doesn't go for Chinchu's Burst now. I guess that he wants to have it for round 4 too, so he just switched to Shongyun. I applied the Lotus, because I expected the free damage from the skill. I don't know if it was the base farming for it, but that's okay. The thing now is that I don't really threaten to make a new attack. So he just set up his draws, and I apply the Fatui spell, I wrote the Hydro, so now whenever he attacks, he'll get an Hydro application. I decided to switch to Liney to maybe let him freeze him with Shongyun, but it wasn't really his plans. He just takes the occasion to use his burst, and pretty safe since I cannot attack anymore. He does apply the Hydro, so I know that on the next turn I can kill the Xingyu, but it's okay for him because Xingyu already did his job. So he's in a pretty good position, he's got a lot of draw coming, and no, maybe I wasn't fast enough, I didn't get my Fatuizan burst. Once again, I didn't really know the combo to get it early. So there in this position, I just try to oh, I do get the swap, the quick swap. The animal resonance is very good. Once again, one more mistake I see. I pre-equip the Gambler, thinking that it was enough damage with the burst. But the burst is only 1 damage, and +1 because of the bow. So it wasn't 3 damage. But you do see him that he did shuffle the treasure, so shuffling 6 things that gives dices, and he's starting to draw a lot, and playing more other things that draw whenever he attacks. So, as said, because I had Cryo applied, he just has to attack and get my Fatuizan frozen. But that's okay, she did her job. So I use the second quick swap. I pass the bow from Fatuizan to Laini. And I think I tried to go for the one shot. Yeah, exactly. So now I'm pretty confident because it's 20 HP against just a 5 HP riser. What could happen? Well, guy did. A first treasure, a second treasure, and you see him back at 9 dices. And the reduction on his normal attack. So he can really threaten to freeze my characters. And I believe he has Gambler equipped too. So now I cannot burst with Laini. I still have 3 dices, but if I just switch to Lynette, she'll just be frozen again. So my plan is to wait on it, let him kill Fatuizan or Laini, and then switch back to Lynette as a last resort. Oh no, okay. I did try the Lotus, thinking I would tank the attack and saving this last dice. But the problem is that you see him, he keeps on going with Gilded. That's the third treasure, the fourth treasure, and now a Gambler on top of it. So I remember I was pretty salty because he did, on the same time he shuffled treasure, he drew 4 of them, so he got a +2 dices. And now I was just, from such a good position, he suddenly completely reverses it. And he also gets this arcane, and 5th treasure, so... Wait, that's a 6th one? Yeah, okay. Just no chance. And because he has the Gambler, I just concede. I know there's nothing left to do. So this is game 8 in the tournament now, and my opponent is playing a deck that I never saw before, this Sara, Herald, Eula thing. So I do get that he has way to freeze, but I'm not really sure what to expect from Sara. So I just go with the normal open, with Laini. And once again, you see me, I was shuffling back the arcane, I still didn't know about the Fatuizan combo. Eventually in this series, I'm going to show it to you. Once it was one of my opponents that actually played it against me. So there I just, once again, use the Omni dice to have my pyro. I do get some pretty bad dices. I decide to use my Animo dices for setting up the Fatui spell. Rolling Cryo, which is pretty good. It's a lot of damage from the Cryo plus Pyro reaction. But it does get this opportunity to switch to Herald, knowing that I cannot kill him anymore. Herald, whenever he skills, he first deals damage and then he has another attack coming. And both deal Hydro. So it's not really recommended to switch between the two of them. Even if you have the occasion, because you'll get a Hydro applicated to another Kara. So I did take some damage, but I guess that I switched to Fatuizan. Even if I didn't skill yet, it's okay. But no, 4 electro dices. But thankfully I do have the bow. And the bow, you have to use 3 dices of the same elements. But then your next skill or talent card that you use only costs 1. So that's convenient for my Fatuizan right now. I do even get an occasion to swirl the Cryo for even more damage on Herald and Eula, finishing Sara before she really does anything other than playing her Electro Summon. He does have the food to heal. I don't remember if I saw Mao in his list. Nothing to do with his dice, so I just play Liben. A bit wasted occasion. Even if I played my food for 1 and use the Arcane to get back 2 more dices, I didn't really have anything to do. But that's okay. And once again, not so good dices, but I can turn these Hydros into a bow. Probably going to Laini this time, so that's okay. He does have Lotus, and the thing with Herald is that whenever you kill him, if he had his talent cards or if he had used his burst, all of my skills and burst will cost 4 instead of 3. Or like +1 if you have a different burst. So here I play a Lotus to try to save Fatuizan and have time for her burst. But I do end up going for for the bow, and the bow only reduces skill. I don't have the talent card yet, so sadly I don't really have the burst. But I guess that was okay. I don't really have anything to play. Here I just play the arcane to load on the Liban, get some of draws on the next turn. Because of Fatuizan's skill, Herald switches back at the end of the turn. I think it was not really intended on my part, but anyway, that's still good for me. Because I have a Phantasm stack on Liney, I do get +1 damage on the skill. Even if it costs 4 dices, I'm still able to take it out. But there I think it was my biggest mistake of the game. Because I'm not really expecting more than 4 damage from the Eula. But there he gets the weapon, he gets the Gambler, and is able to one-shot Liney. And now I have this Lotus Food for -3 damage, but it's not really useful. I should have used it on Liney and I would have 2 attacks for clearing Eula. But right now I can only do 3 damage, so I'm one off lethal. And because Eula has the weapon, she does too much. And just like this, I lose. It was really on my timing for Lotus. And now this is game 9 in the tournament, and this is a guy from AAA, which is a team. I believe I met a lot of them during the tournament, and I kinda asked them, all of them, like, what does AAA stand for? And nobody could get me a decent answer, so I just kept on asking them. But anyway, I think all of them were playing this Fatuizan, at least all of the ones I faced, and yeah, pretty much a proof they were in to win. So here, once again, I have the opening with the small artifacts that damage Liney to get a draw. And because it's mirror match, we're pretty much doing the mirror things. As both we are going to try to switch to Fatuizan, then we'll have no pyro in front of us. But I do decide to stay on Liney and just use Liban. I think it was a bit ambitious on me because I totally let him swirl, and Liney pretty much dies for nothing. He do gets also the arcane and bounces back the arrow to reduce the skill. I'm not sure he needed to do the skill for that, but still okay. I do get the natural switch to Fatuizan, but now I'm really behind. I have the 2 pyro applied, and he has the burst almost ready. I do have the Opera, and I have more draws than him, so I have to somehow make that count. Here I actually keep the 3 dices Electro, because I have the bow, and I can instantly equip it to Fatuizan. I can also use the Fatuiz skill, and I roll Electro, which is good for me. It's gonna be overcharging things, so he's going to have to switch whenever he attacks, and it triggers the reaction. And that's also a lot more damage. And now you see, he played the card to reroll his dices, and he has no more hands. And meanwhile, I have some more ways to draw. I have the +1 dice, so I might be able to actually pull out the skill for Fatuizan. He does get a lot from Liney's E, but Fatuizan barely survives, hopefully. He didn't really have a way to pass down the bow from he had, but he chose to not do it. I guess if he had a way to pass down the bow from Fatuizan to Liney before, that could have been okay. But now you see the Fatuizan burst going to kill both our characters. And now we get a duel on both linettes, and both have like one of the Fatui things. So for reroll, I need Animo. The cool thing about Liney, as a finisher is that she's going to heal on 2 whenever you use her skill. But he does have an advantage in the duel because he's got the Lotus skill. At least the Fatui spell can proc the Lotus, so that's pretty cool. So here I go, I get the heal, the reaction is triggered, but he cannot do much damage, and I just barely have the win, discarding all of my hand to get enough Animo dices. So finally showing a win in this report. So at this point in the tournament, I was at 6-4. I did show you 2 of my losses, but I do think that you learn a lot more from your losses than from your wins. Looking back at these games, I do feel like a bit of a newbie, but you're going to see I've improved quite a bit over the tournament. This will be a mini-series of my report in the Cast Style Gathering, So subscribe if you want to see more of that, more quality games and lessons I learned in Genshin TCG. Remember to like this video if you did, it really helps the channel. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye!